So I always think of my life as a road or a path. And in Psalms 37:23, there's a verse, a person's steps are established by the Lord, and he takes pleasure in his ways. Though he falls, he will not be overwhelmed, because the Lord supports him with his hands. It's just a great verse that it applies to my whole life. The sower sows the word. Some are like the word sown on the path. When they hear it, immediately Satan comes and takes away the word sown in them. And others are like seeds thrown on rocky ground. When they hear the word, immediately they receive it with joy, but they have no roots. They are short-lived. With distress or persecution comes because of the word. They immediately fall away. Others are like seeds sown on the thorns. These are the ones who hear the word, but the worries of this age and deceitfulness of wealth and desires for other things enter in and choke the word, and it becomes unfruitful. And those, like seeds sown on the good ground, hear the word, welcome it, produce fruit 30, 60, and 100 times what was sown. So I have a very interesting life. My life revolves around that parable, all four parts of that parable. So it all starts in like 1977. The first time I heard the gospel of Jesus Christ preached to me was in junior high school or elementary school from the Gideons. And they just happened to, at the time, give me one of the Bibles like this. At the time, I thought it was one of the greatest things I heard, but when it was all over, my life just stayed the way it was. I was, a young kid at the time, and things never changed. The next big thing in my life happened in 1991. Many things happened there. The one big thing was I heard the gospel preached another time by Billy Graham on TV. There was a guy named Charles Colson who was giving his testimony, and I don't know if you know who Charles Colson was, but he was one of President Nixon's right-hand men, and he ended up going to jail. And his testimony about how he found Jesus and came to know him is an unbelievable story, and he wrote a book about it called Born Again. And another thing happened in 1991 that was just absolutely amazes me to this day is I was working in a camp in northern Alberta, and I always bring stuff to read, but this one week I never brought anything to read, and I was kind of searching around and I couldn't find anything in the library at this camp. And I went back to my room and I opened a drawer, and I didn't even know the desk had a drawer in it. I thought it was a false front. When I opened it, there was a Gideon's Bible in there. So it was the second time the Gideons that they found me. So I started reading it. One of the guys I worked with, I asked him the next day, and I go, hey, the Gideons came into our room and left Bibles. And everybody kind of looked kind of puzzled there because nobody else had a Bible in their room. So it was kind of a neat thing. And this guy, his name's Greg, he actually gave me a Bible, which is the third Bible I received. He gave me a King James one, and I started reading it. I didn't grasp it. I didn't understand it well, and I slowly just put it away, and I had no roots and nobody to fall back on and ask questions at the time. So in 2000, my mom got cancer, and while she was going through her cancer, she asked me to get her a Bible. I went to a Christian bookstore in Edmonton there and found her a Bible that was easy to understand. It was an NLT one. Anyways, she was reading it right up till when she passed away. But I was there when she passed away. Remember, she was unconscious already, but she was laying in the hospital bed there. And the most amazing thing is, just before she died, her eyes popped open, and she smiled and took her last breath. But it was just, to this day, I still don't understand, where, I don't know how to put it, but what did she see that she smiled at that moment? That was a very traumatic event for me. So after my mom passed away there, a lot of stuff was happening in my life, and the worries of this world, as the parable would say. just started compounding on top of me, and I had to get out. Around 2004, I decided to up and depart Alberta, and I moved to Revelstoke. And things really started changing for me. In 2007, I met my wife Bea, and we got married. And we started coming to the Baptist church in Revelstoke and met some great friends, people family that adopted us. More friends than I've ever had that had really good influence on me. And then joined the men's group. My life has been progressing forward ever since, with our friends and also with the church. And also I've found out from over the years that I have a knack for giving people Bibles, which is seeing the expression on people's face when you give them a Bible, the smile, but it also at the same time gives me unbelievable pleasure to do this. I don't think this is the Word of God. I know this is the Word of God. And there's verses in this book that they tell you it is the Word of God. And with my life the way it was led, and I could tell you things that make some people's hair stand on end, and I won't get into all that, but there's no other explanation except this is the Word of God. And I know maybe that's why to this day I like giving Bibles away to people, is to give them the pleasure that I get out of reading this book. And in Genesis 3:9, there's a verse that God is speaking to man and saying, "Where are you?" And I think of that verse a lot. The simple fact that I think He's been calling to me ever since 1977, when this all started for me. In Jeremiah 29, for I know the plans I have for you. This is the Lord's declaration. Plans for your well-being, not for disaster, to give you a future of hope. You will call on me and come and pray to me, and I will listen to you. You will seek me and find me when you search for me in all your heart. I will be found by you, is the Lord's declaration.